Give hallelujah, the highest praise. Hallelujah, give him the highest praise. Hallelujah, give me the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give me the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonders and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never, never change. You never, never lie. You never, never change. You never, never change. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hallelujah. Give hallelujah. The highest praise. Hallelujah. Give him the highest praise. Hallelujah. Give me the highest praise.
Come the friend, Jehovah. Come the worship, Jehovah. It is of the prison. Come the prison. It is of everything. Oh, the worshiping. Oh, he gave me life. I would praise his name. I'm here to praise my God, Lord, because he gave me life. Come celebrate, come to play, come to worship him. He deserves the praise. Hallelujah, give him the higher praise. Hallelujah.
My case is not your case. My love is not your life. If you can't help me, don't help me. If you can't help me, don't tell me that. My today is not my tomorrow. My now is not my future position. I say don't conclude my case. My case don't conclude my case. Oh, the Lord is always by my side. You say about you know what you ain't got me. I say don't conclude my case. My case. Don't conclude my case, oh. My case I just started. My case is in the hands of Jesus Christ. Who are you meant to conclude my case? You will fall, but you will never succeed. Say, don't conclude my case. My case, don't conclude my case, oh.
Don't conclude my case. Don't conclude my case. Don't conclude my case. Don't conclude my case. Don't conclude my case.
I have
All right, good evening. Good evening. So we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. You are in Liberia, right here in the USA, wherever you are. We say, good morning, good evening, and welcome. I'm Afonso and so right here at the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio with your regular edition here. All things considered with latter unfolding in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. Terror in the country. Who's in charge? What is responsible? Is it both the combinations of both external or internal? And what is GOL doing besides that? The ordinary citizens, civil society, and the advocates, what is lacking? What is the approach needed? We need to have a conversation. It is unprecedented to see what is unfolding. As the result, all of the actors, decision, policymaker are now taking the airwaves, making use of the microphone. Uncertainty is in the making. Hopefully, I'm going to be joined by my group here this evening, but more or less, you, the ordinary Liberians, those of you that are feeling the pain, it is incomprehensible. Some of these images coming from inside Liberia, despite of the bitterness of the civil war, I I didn't see that. I am not saying things of horror that did not occur, but what we're seeing right now, the aftermath of the civil crisis is what we're dealing with. Who are responsible? What is the rationale behind this? We're going to be having a conversation. I want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe, and I will try as much as possible to open here. Is there a way that we need to engage national government, our community? Where is the community and police interrelationship, community and police relationship? Where it is? Civil war was fought in Sierra Leone. They fought in La Cote d'Ivoire. But I don't know, probably you saying it, but I am not saying this. What we're seeing unfolding, to what we see happening to our children, to our mothers, our sisters, our uncles, our siblings, and ordinary peaceful Liberians that are trying to get their daily catch up. We don't see this happening in Sierra Leone. Yes, Father Sanko and his good also range a terror on the country. But right now, they are in the process of reconstruction to rebuilding. But see what is coming from out of Liberia. Is it people try to solidify their political grip at the expense of peaceful Liberians forcibly taking their lives because they want to what? Remain in the eyes of the media, the public? What is going on? What is lacking? I had an incident quite recently. One of our regular callers, it was 1 o'clock at work in the morning, and this phone call came, and it was good I was on with the Liberal Progressive, and this lady was screaming. People were forcibly trying to enter her door, banking forcibly trying to enter for whatever reason. If you talk about 1 o'clock, it's almost like well, it's almost like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It is not your house. There's no arrangement, and you're trying to forcibly go into people's house. People used to leave their window open in those days and was asking for the credit just to call for police assistance. And we were on that phone, call via messenger, call. Finally, the police show up, but we were pretty close to after 2 hours. And what is appalling and scaring is our inability to be a brother's keeper. Somebody is crying, somebody is yelling, screaming. They want to kill me and they are entering my house. And no neighbor, no one is concerned. So what has happened to we are caved into these murderers, those criminals.
whether they are Liberians or people outside of Liberian or non-Liberian, they have connived, they have found a collusion to carrying this sort of terror in the country. That's something is we need to look at. It's scary. Time for people to react, they don't. That's the uncertainty of our Liberian people. The politicians right now, they are all about solidifying their political grip. For the extent, the number 2 president of the Republic of Liberia, the vice president, Chief Dr. Joel Hawatilla, is also adding her voice for this uncivilized and barbaric behavior. She spoke of a local television news network about 6 hours ago in the nation's capital of Monrovia. Let's listen.
People to be safe. The situation involves instances where women's private parts have been cut off, stories of young people who were taken into specific locations allegedly were being used for ritual purposes. And some bodies that were found right in the vicinity of Monrovia, thrown into different places. This is very alarming. And I think it calls for those of us who are national leaders to add our voice in an attempt to call upon our security forces to begin to be more vigilant, to find out why the
Okay, to find out why, that's the sitting vice president of the Republic of Liberia is also concerned to see what is happening, to call on the security forces. That's the men and women, that could be the police, paramilitary, and different sectors of security apparatus in the country. That's the vice president of the Republic of Liberia. So let's see. In a bit of that, to add up to what the vice president said, Police Chief Patrick Sudus and the entire 102 Melvin Sakor, Deputy Police Chief for Public Affairs, who happens to be the spokesperson of the police, Moses Carter, they all converged on a major cable network, that's the ELBC, to speak to the nation. Let's listen to some of that.
Want to come, Liberia in the diaspora coming for festive season to visit their relatives and loved ones to stay away. And this will have far-reaching negative effect on our economy. Politicians will speak to that. But security-wise, let me tell you, the guy who portrayed himself on the social media, he's been kidnapped. His bishop, we in contact with the bishop, we in contact with friends, close friends. The church he claimed to have been a member of. We've spoken to prominent people. We have a call law. That's part of our investigative, processes. The call law will tell you, all of us here using mobile phones. If you made a call today here, as we are at the LBS compound, if you made a call, it will signal that you are around Pinsway, ELBA Junction. You understand? The tower will locate that. This very guy, the time he said he was kidnapped and taken to unknown place, unconscious, and say all of that. It is left to your conscience to investigate. If you are unconscious, do you notice anything? Do you recognize anybody? What is going on? You are unconscious yet you are being kidnapped and your phone is with you. You're taking photo and showing photo of slaughter hall, alleged slaughter hall. And while you are unconscious again, a little boy by your side saying, "Oh, uncle, they carry me to kill me." Oh. And then while you are unconscious again, one man was left in charge of you, and the rest have gone there for your red light, enjoy themselves. How do you determine all of that when you are unconscious? And then you manage to escape through the unfinished lady, yet you show a well-furnished lady to be a slaughter hall. You escape, you found a lady who gave you leave to eat strong. The issues are much, but let me tell you this. You are a victim. I think the right place to go is to the police, so that we can help to curb these things from happening to another person. This guy has refused to come to the police. All of the efforts we've made through.
Is he hiding?
Oh, well, it left me to say, because Jala, if you are a victim of circumstances, and the police is concerned to unveil or to check, to investigate what really happened, it's not just about what has happened to you today. It's about curbing this, stopping the reoccurrence of this thing or affecting other people further, and to unearth who are all linked to this issue. That's what the investigation is all about.
Okay.
But this gentleman has failed to come to us. And everywhere he said he was at the time, proving to be false by virtue of the call log we obtained legally through the court surveillance.
So why does he really launch a manhunt for him? Because it's a person of interest.
Yeah, but he's not a suspect yet. He is the man who claimed to be the victim of circumstances. He's not a suspect. So we cannot launch the manhunt. What we've done is we're going through prominent people that are linked to him. Like I said, the church belongs to. The bishop has come for our own officer, one of the most senior officers who is the church linked to him. He had earlier said to the IG, the only person you can come to is that officer.
And so what did the bishop say to you people?
The bishop has tried through the wife, we got a wife number, everything, through the wife to get him, to do a deal. We can't get him. Now, this lady who said she was almost out and the whole white stuff on her nose taken away. This lady appeared, first of all, when you say you were being, snuffed with substance. The first thing comes to mind is your medical situation. Yeah. So we allowed this lady to go to the medical facility to be checked, to run her system, to run the test and all of that.
That is going on already.
Then, listen to me. Then you can regain conscience to come to us and speak. As she left, she was accompanied by family people. Since she left, the family people are nowhere. In fact, they told her they don't know where the woman is. They can't get her.
Did you allow her to leave without you assigning officer to him?
Because she was accompanied to a medical facility. To a medical facility.
Did you assign officers to
privacy is also a matter of concern.
Okay, welcome, Mama Francis. And so the betting here is the temple of justice, which happens to be the founded habitat of the court system in Liberia. This is where you can go when the push called to shove and shove called to push, and the going gets tough and the tough gets going. There were cases determined. But look, a lot is ongoing in Liberia, and we have to put our thinking cap to look at some of these things. It's just, I just can't believe it. Well, let's see. Someone is here with me in this evening. The liberal progressive, Samson Blaku Branto from Saxtown, California is here, and we're going to have this conversation. It's a very honest conversation. What is happening in the country? It is absurd. It is ridiculous. And if those who are alleged victims, if they can also cooperate with investigators, then that's also an alarming part. Let me bring in the liberal here, Samson Branto of Lpr, also of conversation with the liberal progressive. Man, look at this guy. He decked out this. But you can't put on your face. You can't smile, say, my man.
Good evening, Mr. So, good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having us again.
All right. Total, man, you got your air conditioner on?
Everything on.
Yeah, country boy, you bring them to town. That's a serious problem. Wow. Man, I love that Vex, man. Nice.
It was made till May in total. That's why it looks not nice.
Okay. Welcome, Libra. Look, on a serious note, a lot is unfolding. So you listen to the narrative. I'm not sure whether you follow the press briefings of the police and all of that. I think they are taking some systematic approach. No questions. What is happening in Liberia is terrible. It's horrible. It's horrifying. But who are those people? Who is facilitating this? Is it both internal, external, and who are they forming the sort of collusion with? These are things we need to investigate just from the little portion. And what is sad in here is if not all, but the media too industry inability to go beyond the borderline, to do some really comprehensive investigation, to speak to people, to talk to people, sources, people from all anger. That is not happening. I listened to what one of the police chief was saying, and even the picture that I surfaced, somebody threw that thing into my messenger inbox and just thinking that some kind of thing almost went off. The police gave their side of it. The vice president came out speaking. So this is quite, it is just above the rule. So let's have a conversation here. What is lacking? What do we need to do? Where is the police and community relationship? Is the community helping in the process? I was just providing a narrative. You were on the phone with me recently, what, 4 nights ago, 3 or 4 nights ago, when somebody called and they were forcibly trying to enter their house, and we were like almost taking the phone, but what is she saying? But it was like, it was just like somebody in the theater. But that was a facing to reality was unfolding.
Yeah, Mr. So I think all of us, Liberians, those of us, specifically those of us that are on social media that have been reading and seeing all of the horrific pictures coming from Liberia, it's very sad. It's very sad. But I want to be frank here with you. The chicken is coming home to roost, because you cannot have people that come from a civil war, fought brutal civil war for 14 years, and not one hospital, not one particular hospital that is geared to actually desensitize these people from the war trauma. Many of the people that are even working in the government are all still traumatized. And so for some Liberian, killing a human being is nothing. Because even if they were not part of the war machinery, taking part in the war, they must have seen lots and lots of horrific scenes that numb their mind to the common human suffering. And so this is where the failure, I'm going back to Madam Salif, the failure of Madam Salif to take leadership in this direction, and the failures of all of us Liberians to point these things out. It's not done yet. It's not done yet. It's not done yet, Mr. So, because even those that are in the House of Representatives and senators and all of those people, you can't just leave from America because you have the opportunity to educate yourself, and then you go and go sit on top of the situation in Liberia and think that things going to be resolved. They're going to resolve themselves. We all need to work hard. There are speculation now all over the place that I've been reading about today, that perhaps people are doing these things to entice and this is so ridiculous. It's unbelievable. So ridiculous, unbelievable. But then again, that's what happening in our community, that people are doing these things to entice the military to do what happened in Guinea. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? But here's the issue here. Besides the police and the police director and whoever is speaking, Mr. So, I think this is, once again, this is the time for the father of the nation to come and calm the situation down. Speak to your children. It doesn't matter how old you are. You are the president of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. Weir. You need to come and calm this. People are frightened in Liberia. In fact, in my own little town chat room, there are those young people advising each other what to watch out for, what you need to do, how long you need to stay out. And if you want to, in one of them wrote, if you want to get drunk, try and buy the liquor and take it home and get drunk in your house. That's, people are so frightened in Monrovia. And you got Monrovia population. It's on edge. For goodness sake, let's put politics aside. Let us don't utilize these things there as my good friend, not good friend, but Well, yes, good friend, because he's going to be my political leader. He's going to be the leader of the country soon. As he correctly, he stated today, something that I read, asking the president to donate his birthday money to crown something. Are you kidding me? I thought that was something. You know, when you make these kinds of blunder, political blunder, it comes back to hurt and haunt you. People are dying in Liberia, and you want the president to take his money that is being collected for if the story is true now, to take his money that is being collected by friends for his birthday, to use that money to now send it for crown fighting. This is unbelievable. But Mr. So, like I stay there and I was saying, this is just the tip of the iceberg, because many of the people. Let me say this again. I think we all can attest to it. During the war, the foreigners that came to help to fight the war, many of them are no longer in Liberia. But the Liberians themselves that fought the war are still there, and some are in power. You want to tell me, even if they are general, top general, they never saw any killing at all? What, even killing a chicken, you know what it does to you. How much more about human life? And once you do that, and for some time, then you feel like, well, it doesn't matter to me anymore. And this is exactly what's happening, Mr. So. And this is exactly, and I'm not trying to hold the government responsible. In a sense, yeah, for security reasons, yes, but to say these people need to do X, Y, and Z, I'm not going to go that far. All I'm asking is that the president just take them to the mic and try to calm the situation, calm Liberians that were on top of it, not just from the police director and the police spokesperson making a statement denying. And when they deny, they're not even proved, they're not putting any kind of scientific evidence to say these people, you can bring a psychologist that would try to tell us why you believe that these people's story are not true. And yes, the man talking over the world, your mindset, is he a psychiatrist or something that know anything about mindset? But he want to use that as a way of excusing themselves. They should come out and do things like what Honorable Koji did the last time. We have challenges. Be truthful with the Liberian people. We have too many challenges. And this is something that we're looking into to see exactly what happened. So when people go on social media and explain themselves, you have to debunk all of those things in order for you to be in a good light. If you start chasing these kinds of stories, then you're putting us in hole more and more. Because sooner or later, you will not be believed. And once the people tend not to believe those that are in authority, then we have an issue, Mr. Soul.
So let's take it from this end here, and it's quite it's just a lot is ongoing on. Is the ordinary citizen, the direct victims of all of these crimes here, are they also cooperating with investigators? And I'm asking this question to say, based on based on the conversation, the talking point with one of the police chiefs, what he was saying. Is the family, these people, is the media also doing enough to kind of really get this narrative out here? And the reason I'm saying that, they have something they call subliminal messages. It happens here in the US, and which FCC came out to combat that, to fight that, because there are so many ways. Let's come out of the box here and take it and take a really pragmatic approach. The victims themselves, are they coming on based on what the police, one of the police chiefs was saying? The lady that provided that narrative, and I agree. What other person is not a psychiatrist and that, but our investigations or investigators, they are trained in different aspects. So what I'm saying here is the citizenry, the victims, are they also helpful in the process? Like what happened the other night, we were on the phone, or we're just having a conversation after our program where we fell short and what we need to do, and this person called in and we saw what happened. That was something that we witnessed live, and believe me, all the screaming, nobody could even come to the rescue. So it's like Everybody for themselves, God for all. So if I'm being harmed here and I'm screaming, yelling in this house here, the next door doesn't give a hang. What is factoring in that as well?
Yeah, Mr. So it's like I said, we can't put it on one particular group. And let us try not to victimize the victim in this case. The person is already traumatized. And now you're going to come and try to debunk the person's story without
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, not you. I'm talking about these people that came up today that said the woman, she's supposed to go to the hospital. We don't even know where she is. Mr. So, you are government officials, and your job is to solve crime. Like you correctly stated, many of those people that are in this crime-solving business have been trained abroad. Now, one of the things, and I'm not I'm not in the crime-solving business, but I watch TV. And you see how these things are done. Perhaps TV, real words, I mean, the real life, and so it's different. I agree. But for goodness sake, if somebody is coming to you complaining about what have happened to them, and you don't know what the situation is, what happened, you need to ascertain from that person exactly what the person's story is. Now, if the family members are now ready to turn this person over to you, look at the reputation the government of the Republic of Liberia has when it comes to safety. Nobody believed them. There have been so many killings. And the fact that they are now on top of things, people improvise and attribute those killings on the government. And if you're coming from a village, or if something...
So, in essence here, there could be other people, other group or other people responsible, but the government not being too proactive, they are not getting on top of it. They are not facing the microphone until some sort of tension is being mounted, a public outcry, and come with some sort of funding. But what I'm saying here too, this is another version of it. If I've been attacked, if my house is also being attacked, the probability of me knowing who perhaps did that is most likely, and that's I'm just saying probability. But at the same time, I can also help investigators to pick up where the crime.
Mr. So, even here in the United States, there are so many people, so many communities, especially in the African American communities, where the call of silence is take roots. You rat on anybody that come after you. And here now, where we have security camera all in the street and people are frightened, how much more about Liberia? And the people are concerned. If I say something, the government is incapable of protecting me. I'd rather be quiet than to come and rub my mouth, and then when I get attacked, I got nobody to help me. You heard the lady was calling the other day. She spent almost $5 million on the phone, yelling and screaming, and nobody could come to her aid. It's not like you don't have people. No, but that's the point. It's not like you don't have people in the community that are concerned. But the fact here is this: I believe that those people, some of them willing and might be able to help. But what their intent is, if I go help, and the story in Liberia, most of these things are happening, are being, according to story, which I don't believe, are being supported by people in higher positions in the crime-solving business. So if the community believes something like that, if I go out there and capture one of those guys and the leader who might be involved in running a day-to-day affair of this country, having to know that I'm trying to bring somebody who might rat him out, they might come after me. These are the kinds of things that many Liberians are feeling. And I'm saying to our brothers and sisters,
is that a right way to go?
Well, of course, Mr. So it's a factor of fear. Anybody, any one of us, you can be the best warrior before you get in. I am a warrior. I am a warrior. Before you get into, Mr. So, please let me finish. Mr. So, I am a warrior. I am a warrior. Let me finish. But on a very serious note, before you get into even anything you do, for example, playing football and anything, you have to put yourself in that spirit. So before you get there, there's a space from where you are to that space you want to be in to be the best. So you move gradually. I'm saying to you that our brothers and sisters in Liberia, for example, they want to get involved, but the government does not have any kinds of a history of being on the side of the people, except few times when Patrick Suru, the commander of the national police in Liberia, when they killed those armed robbers, many of us, in fact, I was one of those. Where's the liberty? Where's the liberty? These people liberty. Why they kill it? You know, but this is the life they live in Liberia. People are afraid. So when Patrick Suru did that, the international community, you kill what? 5 or 6, 7 people in less than a month, and then the international community. I was reading some paper that was questioning that. And so, how do you get to that? This is what I'm saying, that the failure, and the chicken has come, is continuing to come. The failure of the past administration that came in immediately, I would say, after the war, when Liberians were anxious to start all over. They decided, Madam Sally and her people decided to come and start where Charles Taylor stopped. Instead of going back, they have the opportunity. Let's take the country backward a little bit and then reformulate some of the good things that we have seen in the past and bring those out. Liberians were willing to sacrifice those things. But when they decided they're going to come in and start democracy immediately, and we're coming from a war situation. Everything in the country was damaged. You're going to have to start fresh. Liberians were willing to start fresh.
Okay,
let's come in and want to start from where Charles Taylor stopped. It's not working.
I honestly, I don't know. Liberians got a little bit ugly and cruel as a result of the civil crisis. But I think it came. I don't believe Liberians are that wicked set of people to see what is happening here. And I'm trying to also think out of the box. We have become a free nation. The influx of people coming in the interest of African solidarity, West ECOWAS, Mana River Unions, and OAU or African Union, whatever. People are coming in. Who those people? Who are they? And there's a drive today. My talking point here. I think I shared this information, and let me just put it out there because I'm always like to think freely. Just around after the war, I formerly worked with the Ministry of Post and Telecommunication, and my immediate boss, who happens to be the minister, then Minister Colley, office. There was an ECMO guard that was assigned at that office. I'm saying that because I just want to put it out there. And what I heard from him was horrified, and I reported the case, and he was changed immediately. Remember when the ECMO came to Liberia, people were saying, we had this sort of saying, how they wanted people with those kind of bad category, that, and one time we were driving in a Bosman car, and he like, you want to get rich? Like, what are you talking about? And he said, you see that gentleman, that's that gentleman that in Nigeria, we get those things real play live, we get them, well, any part you, except maybe the breath. And when you get that, God, I like, when he said that, I went in my shell. And when I went, I told my boss, look, no more I drive in this guy here, with this person here. Now, when I see these things happening, which is ritual in itself, because you want some sort of either supernatural power or you want to get wealth overnight, I'm wondering how many of these guys has returned to Liberia in quest of all of these things here, about other human organs, and who are they colluding with, or who are they collaborating with to carry out all of these things here? So is it time for us to take a review to national government, citizen rate, the advocates, the civil society, to take a different approach to what is happening? Why people are not even organizing? And I know it may sound ridiculous here, but hey, we have to be a neighbor's keeper. Why people are not putting together to watch neighbor, like my Stephen Tower estate. If you go there, you go take somebody's land, you better take that land and you shouldn't be caught. But if you are caught, you know where you're going to be the story. And I know they don't have the capacity. And it comes back to the police and community relationship. I think it is time now for the police, especially in charge of state security, more or less. Or maybe I think it is time to call in the military if the police does not have the capacity, because we cannot continue to live in this night or daytime terror that even when your son or your daughter goes to school, you get a heartbeat, the mother home waiting for a child to come from school, you wouldn't have been because some kind of idiots in a keke or motorcycle or whatever way, they're all out there hunting. You don't just know who is who. So is it time to return to the community and for the police to do everything possible so that they can regain the confidence? And it's not going to come overnight, but I think it's a gradual process. Is that something they need to do, or should we just ask for international help? And the government needs to come out because the government does not have the capacity to come back around. Like the perfect, what happened the other morning? 2 hours. We were on the phone when 1 or 2 show out, and we were hearing him loud and clear that they were responding to an attack at Painsway or Duper Road, where another criminals they tried to remove people's zinc and enter. It's crazy. Because when you
Mr.
do that
So,
for me, honestly, you forfeit your life. For you to go over my zinc and come in my house, the thing you're looking for, you forfeit your life. Simple as it is. Because that's just a burglary. The intent of that person is to either come take your life as well. There are two things. Because even when they're taking the thing, they don't want to be reported, they don't want to be seen, they don't want to be discovered. Potentially, your life could be taken away. So this is a very, very, very serious thing. And I'm not noting the urgency that is being attached, not only the government, but all sectors of society. Go ahead.
Mr. So, all your points are legitimate. However, let me take a little bit take on most of the things you stated here, and I also made a remark about Madam Salif. Now, Mr. So, there are two things here for me. The failure of these things. First, you have people who fought 14 years civil war, and these people that were fighting the civil war, they have generals, lieutenant, and what have you that were in the trenches with them. Fine. The mistake I think was some of the mistake. Having had the opportunity now for the war to
I have
cease.
to put a number out here so we'll get our. While you carry on, let me just put a number out here so we need to get engage the audience here as well. But go ahead. I'll be putting it out here so we want to so let that we get here the voice views here. Go ahead, Mr. To.
So when they came in and decided to be the new government, what I thought they would have done, and what I thought that would have been at least good, because at that time you have the international security apparatus in Liberia. So I thought instead of getting the West Point graduate, the Harvard graduate, and all these kinds of people, you will go into the people that were in the trenches and bring these people into leadership position. So that because these are the people, the young people that fought the war, they regard them as their savior, they respected them, they believe in them. And then you use these people, these ex-general and stuff, you use them to be able to reach out to these young people that was being affected by the war. That didn't happen. They decided they wanted people with West Point degree and whatever college degree, to be in this position. There's a disconnect between you who studied here in America, never participated in the war, and then you want to go now to go and oversee some of the ills that the war had brought to us. One thing. Another thing, Mr. So, once these people came in to want to be a government, okay, there's two things here. People who ran from Liberia to go outside of the country, all over the world, I would say. They are coming back. They have spent 20 years or so in a foreign country. They have taken on their culture, different culture of the foreign country. You're bringing them back into your country. First of all, you must recognize that your culture should be the supreme, so that the people that are coming in with different culture or different mentality of how to behave, their culture will not supersede your culture. But that's not what's happening. What we see now, these are practices that happen in foreign culture, where they go for human parts and all the kinds of nonsense. So for us not to say we're going to blame X, Y, and Z, Mr. So, I think that we're pushing it too far.
Okay, we're going to have the general public to participate in this conversation here in a very honest fashion. And this is what I always say. Now, all these politicians, people that are taking state power, you don't hear any damn thing for them as to how this system going to be fixed. They are waiting until when they get into power before they talk about fixing. Instead, they are all fighting attack, and we have the real issues to be addressed. I think maybe Mary Bra or Abraham Kalulu Kurma needs to go back. They need to go to people who have the history of getting things done. Let me go to this number here, 612 number here. Cora, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening, Mr. So, my name is Elvis. I'm calling from Minnesota.
All right.
Yeah, just to add one or two things to the conversation, I was kind of privileged to be in this position back then when I was in Liberia. The late Joe Tate, the former police director,
right?
He died indirectly due to similar circumstances like this. Most people hear about his death, but I was privileged to actually be in his house at the time when he took upon this thing. He went to Maryland for this whole Boyle business. Charles did a saying to Maryland. At the time when he went to Maryland, his friend Shira Allen, at the time he was with Youngby Conga Lawrence at the time, because they have two children together. It was at that time. He called Joe Tate from Maryland and told him to come to Buchanan because they're having a fun time. And Joe Tate didn't want to stay in Maryland that night because he was too scared of the whole Boyle thing. And that's why he left Maryland and go to Buchanan, and there was not enough fear. I was in his house with his nephew, Memona, Cynthia. I knew Joe Tate personally, but we need somebody who is a personality that can get things done. Even you remember the time of John Butter when Joe Tate said, "I enjoyed it." You have to have a strong personality in the police department. It's a job of action, not just sitting there and sitting there as a ceremonial person. You have to be somebody who, even criminal, when they hear your name, to bring some fear to them too.
Exactly.
So I just want to go ahead, Mr. So. You're saying something. Go ahead.
No, exactly. I mean, what you are saying is important, and that's what prompted me to call A.B. Kroman. When A.B. Kroman was at the police there, he's a very career trained. He been here, a very trained person. But again, this issue, if you are not part of my system, if you are not within my party, or you don't agree with me, you can't be in high profile position. When A.B. Kroman was at that police as Operation 247, he deal with his own police people.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm making. You see, you get big muscles walking around. But what is he doing? And the point I'm trying to make, the president needs to set up a task force. President used to do all the time. You set up a task force, you go there, whether like just for ceremony or whatever, but show the people that you're taking action. Set up a task force, put police in the street and different strategic areas. Let people see them. Let people see the actual people in the street to know that you're taking action. So for me, the president is just being incompetent. He's being docile. I don't know what's really going on with the man. Not to say this, but he's a cool man. Cool people are supposed to be of action. People that take action to the own hand. What is he doing? What is he doing? So for me, I just want to make that point, give you a little piece of history that people who are strong, people who have the personality that they don't want to occupy that police directorship.
Look,
not somebody who is just there as a figurehead.
Yeah. All
Thank
right.
you so much, Mr. So.
Thank you. Look, folks, we need a call here. Okay, when our own judge with us said, when police kills criminal, people become angry, and how would a criminal be afraid? Moff talk. Look, widow, that thing, if you mind that, to run government is not a social club. Look, there are some people who just don't need to be around. Simple as it is. I'm gonna be in my house. You're gonna climb over the roof and coming down. You forfeit your life. Period. That's it. You think the police, being a policeman does not mean your life is in the plastic bag? We see it here. When police stop you, you stop. Any attempt to do any other thing to show any range of motion, you think your back is scratching or your tire scratching, the thing you are reaching out for your arm to possibly take them down. They will gun you down. That's it. What's about a country that went through a 15 years of devastation? People are traumatized. People just think they can do their own thing. You know, it's crazy. I saw the other day in Douala, a group of people, whatever committee, they went and created a blockage because they said government said people should not be 3 in. Who the hell you are? That you think you just want to have a lawless country? George, we need to step out. There are some people who are not really happy, and the ball gonna drop on him if he fails to take that step. Let me take this call here quick here, and we'll go here. Good evening, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Eliza, and I'm calling from Minnesota.
Okay. So what's your name, please?
Eliza.
Oh, Eliza. Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure you're monitoring what's happening in your own country. It's concerning. It's concerning. It's alarming. It doesn't matter whether we are in. We get our kids. We get family. You can't be your child go to school. You don't even know whether that child going to come return home. And this is not even child alone, right? Men, grown-up people are just disappearing. You know.
Yeah. And just what you are saying, I just wanted to add up to what you are saying, like foreigners, the influx of foreigners. It's true. Let me be honest, when we were in Liberia, Selita, we used to wear big goals. We used to be all on the street with him there. Freely. We had grown-up boys, as we call them, grown-up boys. They never used to even think to check your bear or even check your chin. At the end of the day, when these people came into Liberia, they start coming in Liberia, they own motorbike, checking your chin. That thing happened to me right on Ashmont Street. 2 boys were on a bike, and when they checked my chin, also helped me that it was so big they couldn't check it. And I'm not saying Liberia are not killing, but because of different kinds of people coming in Liberia, I believe this is why all this killing going on, you know?
Okay, what views expressed here are views of that, not the views of the management and staff, but I think all of us have a input on it. Right in my own boat town here, Burkinabe, they want to kill their own friend Burkinabe. Can you imagine how you come in other people's country and if they can kill one of your own, what do you think they can do? So they are also for a collusion with the bad ones for little or nothing and just think people's lives in the plastic bag, they can bust it anytime. And the president needs to step out to put his pants on people that are in charge of the security. And I agree with what the person said. Patrick Sudu goes so and threatening and says, look, action, we need action. That country, maybe Mirabel can do better than because she has a history of fixing something, even though she's a woman. But that's why you see Liberian people, they don't like those kind of things. That nonsense that is happening right now when Charles Taylor is president, it will not happen. You can't have criminals, you can't just have it. And that's what the vice president was saying. You know, the projections of that to the international world, where country, when there's no security, nobody wants to do anything. I'll be coming to you something. Let me go to this other number here, 973 number. 973, are you there?
Yes.
Good evening, so welcome.
Hi. Yeah, how you doing, Mr. Sewell?
Great.
That's one or two things I want to make a reference to, right?
Mm-hmm.
I asked the question again. Sometime on another show, right? Everybody, sometimes people saying, "Oh, the president can't do that." The president, Mr. Sewell, there's the thing. It's like you have a home, you got your parent in your house, your child running wild. Like the first thing when the child goes out, what do they say? Where's the parent?
Right.
The thing we keep saying over and over and over. When would Joey speak to the nation? When would Joey step up? When? That's all we want to know. When will he do that? When would Joey say something? And furthermore, Jefferson County is the Senate mayor of Monrovia, isn't it? Mm-hmm. The senior senator there, the other senator there. These are people that have the particular places they got in order to say things. Do they know that jobs? Do they know the jobs? Even let a foreigner come in the country and doing these things. Liberia is the only country that have an open door policy. People see they can come there. Oh, Liberia was so nice. Liberia was so gullible. People come there due to whether the Liberian killing or whoever killing, will never know. I watched the press conference of the police, the director, whoever back to students. The way the people were in the studio today, like your drunken attitude. That's how the whole demeanor, everything. Like everything they say, or like, oh, you know, this picture was there, that somebody posted on Facebook, that was autopsy picture, or Bishop Contra Brown, all the things and they blaming other people. In this country, our police station, our police place, that's 24 hours. So what about 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7, 24 hours? Form a neighborhood group, neighborhood watch, and put them there, pay them. When we go, we have to do something. Then they pay money to go to DC to lobby, and you think these people not seeing what's going on? You wasting the people money because you can't lobby for nothing. You lobby for something where you know the people watching it, they're seeing it. So why do we believe in you? But then yet they still not put it like that. That man come and celebrate birthday. I don't agree with you celebrating a birthday party. That's not what we're going there for, to make music and do and be happy party. He's supposed to shut them down. Either put curfew in order for some time and put things in places, call the police people, because some of the present police, they don't even look like police. Some of them don't get paid. Some of them just do things when they want to. Who knows that some of the police officers robbing people and doing stuff to people? Who knows? And this is so embarrassing as a Liberian talking. And then every time we say, oh, the president is not responsible. So who is responsible? Who leads this country? Who's the head of the country? Eh? It's not what's going on. Though we as Liberian in this country, we got to find some solution to the problem back there. So that's my input.
What would be the solution? And that's a very good analysis. That what would be the solution?
They're comparing America. Okay, we're comparing crime in America and crime in Liberia. The difference with the crime in America, if something happens in the neighborhood, when you see the first thing, the police set up all point license to find out what happened, put things in order, go to the driveway and see how well they can go around the neighborhood, find what happened. I bet you tonight, no police officer in the area finding out. The first time something happened, Joe, we have to everybody get CC camera. Okay? Call your police people, go to all the police stations.
And I think that's where he.
So then you put something in order.
And I think that's where the president caved in. I think that's where the president caved in, because when you do that, you already empowered the criminals. How many person? People can't even get their daily meal. They can't even get. They're not even sure when they eat this morning they're going to eat in the afternoon and get a cracker before even going to bed. So I think that was a very wrong message.
And the police were friends with the people, like the police are supposed to serve or protect a property and life. And the police people were friends with the people in the area. They can find out in that same area and find a couple of men or women and set up a neighborhood group. See something, when you see something, say something, see something, say something. Set up something on a hotline. But look at the what I mean, Kapao. One of the security got killed. Okay, what happened? Okay, only thing I remember when before the senatorial election was coming, I think was somebody, one security was here one time. They went somewhere to somebody, one of your bodyguard or somebody that was with him, carry a gun. The gun went off after he pointed, he was pointing at somebody to shoot them. If I'm lying, that video stay out there, somebody can remember, they will tell you. He shot the innocent girl in her head. Her body was laying down there. It's not just a live video. So why are people so careless with weapons in our country? Why?
So,
and a foreigner video, now how will we know?
Yeah. All right. That's a valid question. And I'm going to have a flip side of that. Thank you so much. Keep monitoring. If there's anything, don't hesitate to come back.
Thank you.
All right. Mason, are you there? Go ahead and I can. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, go ahead quickly before I go to the deliberate, and let me just bring Nathan on here. What is the approach right now?
How you doing too, my brother?
Yeah, thank God.
Situation in the country, and people, yes.
Somebody got to load their monitor. We're getting a feedback. Go ahead. One of the person.
Liberia did have a lot of killing, and people did kill people in Liberia ritualistically or just homicide. But I was really taken back when those guys said they were having a press conference today. And
you get a speaker on, Missy, if you get something you monitor, you have to lower it because we get it.
No, mine is low. Somebody has a speaker on. That's why I think.
Yeah.
Speaker? No, I don't have a speaker on.
Okay, go ahead because we're getting the feedback.
Yeah. And now what I was saying is that people did kill ritualistically in Liberia, but when the situation is elevated, especially, let's go back to when the full auditor died and the president came out without a report to say that was not a fair. Those things empowered the criminals because they always found, well, oh, they got another reason, they got a reason, they got something. You're killing, people are dying, and without any investigation, we are getting people in authority to make decisions or to come out with their opinions. That is again not professional. Even though our police is underfunded, it's not. And yeah, they are underfunded. I'll be frank with you.
Yeah, but
they have more than capital of it.
No. The police. No. We have to be. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Yeah, Nathan. To be honest, the police budget now on security of that country, they have a $1 million. That's a chicken change. That's nothing.
No, for you, $15 million budget to this.
We are saying the police budget now is
on. Say the budget, my brother. Yes, okay, let me get a view of this $15 million to a police force for 5 million people. You're looking at 5 million people, you're not looking at the area recover. So you can't do them on road.
Hold on, guys. Let's do it one at a time.
That is peanuts. That is peanuts. $16 million for the whole
imagine for $5 budget, $2 million budget. Imagine that.
Hello.
Go back to Chancellor time.
Hold on 1 second.
Every time.
Hold on. Okay, gentlemen. Okay, Mr. Mayor, point, and then later we'll come to a point. So I'll go back to Mr.
Let's go to the police is underfunded, whether you like it or not. We don't have a police lab, a police criminal investigating lab. Do you have it? No. You think $8 million, $15 million for a police lab? You don't have cars to patrol the street. You don't have cars to patrol the street. You thinking about that? No. All you thinking about the police have money to do it. Half of that money they start also paying police officers.
It's the national budget.
It's that money it's in the national budget. When you give your budget, and money. That money goes to keep it. Salary comes from killing. Salary comes from killing. Whatever is allocated to you, salary comes out of it. Don't say no. Salary is included. You go there, you see that you have it. Compensation is there. Compensation is there.
Right. Hey, look. Hold on.
What are they probably to be compensated for?
Guys, if I can, hold on. Hold on. Look, I don't. This is how you can start trouble in the country. You come here, you want to start acting like children here now. If you're ready, I will come back here. Let me go to Samson too. Samson, are you there?
Yes, I am.
I don't know where people get their information. The police say he needs $6 more million. That has not even been given. The fight here, the police is underfunded, and that's the disgrace with our lawmakers that the security of the country is not of their concern. They should be the one. The police needs to be equipped. in as much you will blame them, they can't respond. If you look at, like, for example, in Maryland, only one patrol police car. See what is happening in Monrovia, and imagine what is happening in Sino, in River G, in Maryland, Grand G, there, other places, the unreported news. Police being in Monrovia alone, that's not the Republic of Liberia. Monrovia is just a menu. And the reason resources are directed at because it's the official seat of the president, and that's the capital. But when we say police, we are talking about the Republic of Liberia. Every Liberian citizen, whether in the village or everywhere, they must be able to have security. That's what we are saying. That's what the police chief said he wants. Go ahead.
Well, Mr. So, I think once again, you're going to have people in this position who not just care for themselves, but care for the country as well. And I'm not suggesting that these people don't, but the point here, Mr. So, is this. You must, first of all, recognize what is happening in your country. The government, and I'm not pointing finger here to, specifically, but I'm just saying that the government, from time to time, has not been able to do the communication process correctly. And as a result, that has become an issue for them. And so once again, I will go to the to trustworthiness. That if you're running these, because these things to government to run anything, Mr. So, it depends on trust. If the community have no trust in you, it doesn't matter how you do it.
But when you start argument, believe me, you'll be something. Let me just Mr. Toll, go ahead. Let me can I handle that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, gentlemen, we have to do it one at a time because it is not just for us. We also want the public to get a take of this whole conversation here. So it's not about story here. So let me just go ahead here. Nathan, go ahead. Well, make your point.
Yes.
45 seconds.
It's frustrating. Even the Bible says, health and destruction are before the Lord. How much more than the heart of the children of men? People are dying. And some citizens, not citizens, some people are saying those are not real people. They're trying to spoil the government name. Those are not, really? And the police, the press conference was given by police director Suru, that was termination. He doesn't tell me I can't solve any crime. Nothing's happening. And we, the Liberian people, are dying. President Weah has to be made enough for the people. We can't afford CC camera. If the president is telling us for the own potential buy CC camera, why can't he tell the buy guns to put it in fact this? And this is, I'm in and out of words. Okay. It's shocking. We talk politics, we argue, that's fine. But when it comes to human lives, thank you for having me, Reverend. It's just frustrating for me.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's make it brief as possible we can so that we can have everybody here. Mason, go ahead. Mason, are you there?
I'm here, Mr. So I can't hear. Mr. So I'm here.
Yeah, okay, go ahead quickly before I go to
Mr. So, I was saying before, and I'm sorry I got interrupted, but people got to realize that when you talk about Liberia, it's a Monrovia. And when our people are dying at an alarming rate, it has nothing to do with politics, it has to do with security, it has to do with the rule of law, it has to do with holding somebody accountable. You cannot stop. I know that murder is not an incident investigation. It's not something that by instant. No, it sometimes takes time. But people must see effort being made to know that there's murder going on, and the people are concerned. Those who are in authority, they are concerned about what's going on, and that's the problem. When I listen to President Suru today, he talked about homicide and he talked about ritualistic killing. Ritualistic killing is homicide as well. It's not just
because somebody shoot somebody in the head, that's homicide. No, retaliation killing is homicide. You are taking somebody's life. Okay? And that's where he failed to realize. He also failed to bring it into full prospect that no, we got people who may be out there maliciously drainaging the government. I agree, yes. But at the same time, we got real people who die. So let me talk about the real people who die.
Yeah, hurry up before I go to the next person.
Okay? He didn't do that. So I just think this government, people in this government need to start taking the responsibility for what the government is having problem solving. Especially when it comes to people. Let them bring something. Let them continue the investigation. People go to vote.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, let me go to 612-3168. Caller, go ahead. Make it brief. What's your take?
Yeah, this is Terry. Thank you, Mr. Silva, allow me. However, yeah, I think the problem that we have in Liberia is that the security is not providing safety for our people, which is a very major problem. And I think that they are ignoring the fact because they're trying to carelessly blame a few people for saying that people are posting wrong information. I think that is not called for. I think it is wrong. I think the president needs to speak on this particular issue. And people are accusing, I hear some people saying that it is the opposition that killing people and trying to implicate the government. I believe the government, there are a lot of people that have been dying and the government have not come up with any proper accountability. Equally so, we need to also take into consideration that in order for police to do proper investigation when it comes to homicide and all that, you have to have pathologists, you have to have fingerprint, cross-examination, and all these kind of technologies. We don't have this kind of system in our country. So I thought really those were the things that Patrick Sulu would have stressed on in trying to find all investigation in regards to the amount of deaths that have been occurring. But instead, he decided to defend the government against the people when the people are suffering from these things. I think that was full on his part, and it was very uncalled for to the Liberian people. I think the Liberian people need to know why people are dying, because that is the reason why we put them in power.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you
very much.
Okay. All right. After this, I'll go to my man, the Liberal here, 215 number 9046. Are you there?
Yeah, how you doing, Mr. Smith?
Good evening. Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Eric Kramer. I'm calling from Philadelphia.
Welcome. Go ahead.
I've been watching your show most of the time, but most of these things, the giraffe from our police, the what we I just listening to the guys. But the Nigerians and the other foreigners over there, they're bringing drugs in the country. They can really encourage our children to be good. They are the main people that do most of those things because I went like for a couple of months. And the children are afraid of the Liberian police. Every one of them intact. So they can get their drugs to do something to our people. And our security need to, they don't respect, or even when we go to the airport, they respect the foreigner and the citizen when we leave from here and go over there. They had to do something about this. I'm done, Mr.
All right. I love that. I'm done. Okay. The Liberal.
Yes.
There's sort of frustrations of I think it's on both sides. I think everybody, because this is, you don't know where the ball going to drop. So if you think, okay, I'm going to downplay this, you don't know where your family person or who we're going to answer on the next day, next morning. We are not hoping for that, but it's like the city or the country is on edge. Every other money now, you have to get some kind of crazy picture or somebody being killed and things like that.
Mr. So, I agree with you, but we got to go a little bit deeper than that. Even the law enforcement themselves, the police, they also work for the government. And first thing you have to look at it, what are they bringing home for them, for which they have to risk their lives? And why should they not take, let's just suppose some of the things that people have been reading and hearing about foreigners getting in and coming in, paying people for human parts, and even if that is true, what exactly we as Liberians, forget about the government, that we're doing in that country that will generate wealth for those who have the ability to work? You call it free press, free society, and free everything else. But many people don't want to work, number one. And plus, there is no job. Mr. So, let me now go into this here with a little nuance of politics and what have you. Okay. Mr. So, there's a lot of things that are going on in this government. And I'm not too sure why. How big is Liberia? How many of us in our country that we're going to need $200 billion for us to move that country forward? But because people take money that don't belong to them, money that's supposed to be applied for everybody to benefit, they take it for themselves. And these things are hurting the entire population. So people are trying to find shortcut. For example, Mr. So, it's just human nature. You and somebody yesterday playing on the beach, running around here, no clothes. You can't even have money to buy food to eat at night. You're cooking sour with palm oil and things like that. And because the person got shot out, they go and hang with some kind of political party. Before you know the political party comes to power, the person become rich overnight, left you in no position. And if you have an opportunity like this to make money, and that's what everybody wants to do, because we have not provided to our brothers and sisters the importance of honest work. We have not provided to our brothers and sisters the importance of not just getting money from government positions.
Is this
if we have these kinds of success, that human being, Liberian, will showcase their success by working in private, by working on the farm, by planting here and there, and then you get money and show. But many of the rich people in Liberia right now, if you put them in line, you will question how they got their riches.
Okay, now, so the bottom line here is the conversation is it ongoing as well to kind of unveil and to empty all of these apprehension. What to do? How can we enhance our government? What is the good governance? What constitutes good governance? But we have another group of people also who give justifications of action. So the bottom line here, that country is heavily cost. And that's the price that we are all paying. The just and the unjust are paying the price. I work with a Nigerian friend. You know what happens on the social media, the way people behave, the way they talk, and they say, yes, it's a freedom of speech. Look, give me a break. That is when you refuse to listen to positive signal, when you refuse to do what is right because of your ugly deeds, the country, the nation, all of us can suffer. And we give justifications of people doing these sort of acts with the hope that what they are doing will help to bring to resolution to the country. We are not keeping this sort of conversations in a civil way to even persuade, to bring somebody to the understanding what we are doing, what you are doing, what I'm doing for the country is not healthy for the country. Now, group of people doing certain things that succeed. Mind you, I am watching. Others are also sitting. Okay, when something told did it and it works, I can also do it to work.
Mr. So, it's simple said and done, to be honest with you. You got people in our community, like during diaspora, even back home, that are strictly there to muddy the water. In fact, many of them, they're so sophisticated now, they don't go to say, oh, they did it before. So what's it? No, they muddy the water. You talk about apple, then they come and bring oranges in there to try to confuse the entire process. And they have been successful so far. Now, you have the president of the Republic of Liberia. These things happen. Killing, whenever killing happens, Dr. Weir will not come out and make comments. And this is affecting the psyche of the people themselves. Dr. We are the most likely, and I'm just guessing, doesn't recognize the power he has in his hand in terms of contributing to the well-being of our nation just by talking. Just by you coming out and talking, people having belief in you, they will do everything possible for them to feed themselves. But when you have all of these issues with money, houses, and everything else, and there's no comment coming from the president on these things, people then you, if you have nobody, a good machinery to explain to the people exactly the issue you have. I believe you saw Jefferson Kochi here the last time when he made that brief call. He said, Mr. So, he told you, Mr. So, we have so many challenges. The challenges we're facing in Liberia is enormous. And you yourself, Mr. So, who have lived in Liberia, once you point those things out, you're quick to recognize those things because you have seen them before. But if no information is coming from this government, nobody explaining anything to anyone, what happened? Those who have the big mouths, like me, they will come up and improvise. And the fact that there's no other information coming from the government, people will take whatever comes out of the platform to make real. And this is what's happening. So by the time you come around to try to explain to the people what actually is happening, you no longer believe. The fact that the people don't believe you now, there's nothing you're going to do to bring these things back up. And this is exactly what is happening in Liberia, Mr. So. Go any part of the country and talk about any functionalities of the government. The believability is the big issue. Look what happened with the Port Authority. Listen to that young man that wrote that stuff. People say he took 300,000. That wrote a lengthy, long paper about that, explaining what was happening. How will you do that? And even the paper himself, of course, he didn't call Dr. Weir, but if you read the chief, most likely it was Dr. Weir. So why would, if this is true, these are things that continue to bring this country down. Then when you go to the international community, they've already seen these things, and you want them to give you, they will only give you minimum because they don't want you to slide back into the war. And the minimum cannot do anything. By the time you take your cut and that person take his cut and that person take his cut, the minimum is done. You got nothing to do for the population. And you keep going on and on and on and on. And even with the next government that coming in, unless you come in with a clear idea to say the only thing that's going to save us, first of all, transparency, number one. You can't eradicate corruption.
It's not just only by saying
No,
it.
it's not just this government. It's all over. You can't eradicate corruption. Corruption is going to be with us. But you can address it. You can start addressing it by those who commit serious crime. No friendship. If you come in this government and if you take anything, serious problem, and you try to create a problem for the government, you're going to jail. We will try you, and when you find guilty, whether you're my brother or not, you go to jail. Once you start doing one or two things, start from the minister to the secretary, once people start going to jail, even if it's 2 months in jail, their reputation start ruining, they will start doing good. Simple. That's all. Everybody. That's who we are. But when you go with the impunity, nothing happens. Nobody's going to jail. Nobody going anywhere. They do it every time. And you're not going to get help because you alone, Dr. We are alone, cannot run the entire government. You're going to need anybody. You're going to need a lot of people. But those people that you're going to need, they must be truthful. And this is what we have, Mr. So.
And I think one of the disservice this government has done for herself, they allow these subliminal messages to take control, and which, of course, and they are false. Those sort of messages, they are false, but they appears to be true because people who post this message out, it's well calculated, it's well put together, it's presented in a context that you will believe it, I will believe it, unless you have to fight it. And it happens right in this country, and the FCC end up fighting that. But now we have what I would say like a year to go because 2023 is nowhere around. We have all these other people that are in the contesting, which is okay. They are aware of the problem here. You kind of step back here a little bit, say Helen Johnson Sirleaf. All of these people that are contesting and that came to power, even those that are there, they knew very well the country went through a hectic civil crisis. People are still traumatized. The demobilization process was not conclusive. So everybody knew that we're going to have these challenges. Here we are, the National Rehabilitation Commission, which is the appropriate arm of government that can even lobby with the international community, UN, these different groups to help revitalize and put the country on the right footing, especially the country that went through civil crisis. National Rehabilitation Center is dead. All the lawmakers, if not a good chunk of the lawmakers, people have their own institutions with the sole purpose of carrying on rehabilitation. And they just think carrying on rehabilitation to put somebody somewhere there, and one day they like you, or the person I see that weed or opium or whatever drug, they don't take it. They don't even look at the psychological impact, how you are being disoriented because how you are being traumatized, things that you see. You need to have a clinician, you need to have a psychologist, and all of these people here to sustain these things is costly. Are we having this conversation now? What is the potential plan? And I know people will say, well, these people they are not candidate. But they have these people that support them who does not who they don't even know these people to agenda, but all they do is to support them because they are in political love with them. They like their talking. They are handsome people. The English language is so eloquent that they are fluent. They are very calculative, very curving, inputting their voice together, and we are not even hearing from the real people. So, should we wait until after they are elected before we come to this here? Or is it time now, in as much they want to be president, looking at all of these challenges that we are facing now? Is it time for them to start to have this sort of conversation now, or we should wait until they go on AFLO?
Mr. So, I think those of us that are in the information field platform here and there, I think we will just continue to, I mean, that's our job. We have to ask them. We're not going to sit down and wait for them. We're going to continue to ask them. However, what I want to say here is this. Anyone who wants to lead the country of Republic of Liberia, you will do yourself a big favor by engaging. Because many young Liberians are sophisticated now. Whether they live in the village or not, you can't fool anybody anymore. Now, having said that, Mr. So, I also say the voters themselves are also confused. Because when they expect those who they think will be good leaders, future leaders, and what have you, when they expect them to be people of high caliber, they always fail them. They come out and display some sort of a character that does not fit the kinds of leader these people has been yearning for. They do not fit that kinds of character. And so they get confused. Another thing, Mr. So, the opposition themselves, they also are supposed to be people of good character, and they do.
Are you exempter?
Excuse me?
Are you exempter?
Yes, I am, because I'm not in the opposition right now. I'm talking about my country. So these people, they're also going to have to display a character, not just for Liberians back home, but Liberians in the diaspora and the international community. You can't say that because I'm an African and because I did X, Y, and Z last year, so therefore you can't do that. Now, Mr. So, this government, these kinds of things are something that would I would believe will put some sort of a hamper in whatever it is they're planning. Now, very shortly here, Dr. Weah is supposed to be having his birthday. And these kinds of killings are going on. Liberia everywhere are crying on social media. How do you not speak to the Liberian people and go celebrate birthday on these kinds of situations? This is something this is why you need to be ahead of this thing. Don't just leave it with the security apparatus to address these things. You come out as father of the nation to say, I know what is happening. Look what happened with the vice president. The vice president, I'm not too sure. I didn't listen to the entire thing, but I'm not too sure when she was speaking, she said, she didn't say on behalf of this government. I don't believe she said that.
Something I don't think I'm not sure. I will kind of differ with you on that point. The vice president is a vice president.
I understand that. I understand, but if you're Mr. So, if the vice president is coming out to address this kinds of stuff, you don't necessarily have to say on behalf. Let me finish. You don't necessarily have to say on behalf, but the tone and the frequencies of mentioning the government that you're representing will let people know that you and the president and the entire cabinet have had a discussion. And perhaps you're supposed to be the face to speak for this thing because many women are being harmed. But I don't think that's the case. I think she's representing herself as a woman who believes that many women in the country are being hurt. And so she's coming now as one of the girls that are coming to represent the voice of the many, many Liberian women. And so I can see and I can separate that.
Yeah, but let's be honest here. When the vice president speaks, definitely she's speaking in her capacity not as Joel Howard Taylor. She speaks as the vice president of the Republic of Liberia.
Why don't you go ahead and play the tape? You have it.
Yeah, I heard
play
it.
And listen to some of the wording that comes out of her, and see if you're going to connect those wording with her position as vice president. So the fact that she's a vice president, the face of a vice president is that we can see. But what is the substance? What her language, her message? What is the substance? What is the message is talking about? Is it connected to the present government?
So I don't get that. All right, well, I don't think we're gonna make it out of a talking point, but the idea the vice president coming out, I do agree with you. When these sort of terror, those sort of images, it must be a concern of the sitting president and call for maybe the security apparatus to immediately take some actions, give them some time frame.
Mr. So, this is one area that I don't think we need to go further than that, but this is one area that I'm going to disagree with you on this. And you played the tape earlier. Now, the vice president, she's the vice president of the country. No giving on that. When she speaks, most of the time, I would say she's speaking for the country. But in this kinds of situation, where the trauma of the nation is on display, and if the vice president is coming, having had conversation with the president to say, I'm going to go speak for the nation, I'm going to speak to the nation as vice president, in that capacity, I think the tone of the vice president will definitely lead you to that conclusion. The tone of the vice president will definitely lead you to the conclusion that she has had conversation with the leader themselves. But from just listening to her, I don't think so. And we know the history between she and the president. So it's one of those areas where perhaps she's taking it upon herself to come and address the issue as a woman. Simple as that. That's my conclusion.
So in essence, I'm trying to see what I can find this video. So in essence, are you saying that she was speaking as a lady now, as a vice president for the country? Is that what you're saying?
No. You can't say that she's vice president. And so whatever border puppet she used, she's going in as a vice president. My point that I'm making to you, even though she's a vice president, but I think the message that is coming from her seems to be targeting specific group of people and seem to be coming from a woman of Liberia, not necessarily the vice president of the nation.
Wow. Okay, what the liberal? Let's listen to Sudu and his people, and we'll
just to cut you off, last night I went as far as Bull River, around the Western Africa belt, and I stayed almost 2-3 hours in that area. Me and my men who did a patrol. We left, we went Corway. We're in Corway and past DJs. We went Bonneville. And I came back home to rest about 4:15 this morning. Yeah.
You're not supposed to be resting. Come on, Papa Suru. Look, he came back to what? To rest? Is that what he's saying to Liberal?
I didn't get that part.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's go by here. Let's go by here. You on detail?
We have to get involved in community policing. Reach out to the community leadership. Help the community rise from in this community who are out there, right? Tell them the do and done. And as you see, we started a bit of rigorous police or day and that patrol. I will speak now. You go into the city, you go to zone 10, different zones, zone 4, zone 6. We have peers who hear you also. I will speak at this point. Not only at night, day and night, we are started with vigorous patrol. If you come to watch checkpoints, we are actually doing vigorous inspection as well. We are checking for weapons. We are checking for people who are actually involved in a barbaric act within the state.
Do you people go to far to reach communities? Because I'm looking at some of the communities where people go on social media, you see the photos, they said the body has been found like the cattle, or you go to far to reach communities as well.
Definitely. Last night, the inspector of police, myself, were all in Conway or Broadway, everywhere. We don't be there. Well, last night, I was there before AM.
Just to cut you off, last night I went as far as Puerto Rico. I was around the Western Africa belt, and I stayed almost 2-3 hours in that area. Me and my men who did a patrol. We left, we went Corway. We're in Corway and past DJs. We went Bonneville, and I came back home to rest about.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, man, went Conway, Deville, 2-3 hours, and you came back to rest. Give me a break. Something to, if you are president.
Well, I mean, you gotta give him a pass on this.
You're a human being, he needs rest, right?
Exactly. Mr. So, once again,
is that something you're supposed to mention? So you communicating people. There's fear in people. People count on you. Your intervention could bring relief to people. But when you say you go 2-3 hours, and then you come home to come rest, you just were driving, so you and your whole group came home, or you left them there. What is the scenario involved there?
Mr. So, if you plan something and you don't do it right, these things come back to hurt you. I would say this: many of these killings that are happening, they're happening in communities. They are not happening on the rural highway. They're not happening somewhere between towns and towns. They're happening in communities. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is this. How big is Monrovia? Why is it that the police commander, why can't they establish a community policing type? I'll tell you this. When I went home some time ago, I went to Toll Town. And I was shocked to see the police commander in Toll Town, young man, to actually implement some of the community policing here in the United States that I have watched, I've seen, I've read about, to actually implement that in Toll Town. This is what he did. There was a guy that whooped his wife, and they brought him to the station, and he got arrested. So his father stood his bond, they called it. Pay, wait, I take a bond, something like that. It's okay. The guy left and went to Ivory Coast. When the time came for him to come back to the police station, he was nowhere to be found. After a while, he came back to Toll Town. A week after that, I got there, of course. That same week, he decided to have a conflict with the wife. They were not together. They just having an exchange in the market. So the police got involved. They said, we got you now. So they took him back to the police station. And this guy, the police commander, called the community leaders, including his boy father, and said, you guys were here the last time we had this conversation. Why are we here? And guess what? The people in the community, total community, were saying that it was their fault because the police commander have already told them some of the things they needed to do as community. And that the police commander continued to have that conversation with them while he was in Africa. So they all did nothing they could do except to beg. And the guy said, well, I'm going to take him to Zwadru. So when they left the police station, everybody said, oh, they went up, we can't say nothing. The man, not bad man. He been telling you all over and over and over again that we are said we're not paying attention. That's how you engage the community. So that when you make that drastic action, when that drastic action is taken, the community does not come back to you and say you are the bad person. And this is what's happening in Liberia. By the time these things happen in the community, the police have been far removed from the community. So now you want to come in and try to do an investigation. They don't trust you. What? You want to come in and find out what is happening in the community. They don't trust you. They're not going to have a conversation with you. They'd rather have a conversation with somebody, even if that person is an armed robber, who then pretend to be protecting that community, people of that community. They'd rather have a conversation with that person than to have conversation with the police. And this is exactly what is happening in Nigeria.
Young local communities step up to the task. I remember those days, and in some communities, they're still there. They have this vigilante group that, there to provide some sort of protection for the very community. But the thing is, how long can this go? Because you're going to have people out there going to be all in the street, maybe from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and the communities are very huge. How long can they go? How do they go about to get the resources also needed to sustain it? That's a challenge.
Mr. So, I've always said this. When I came back from Liberia, as an engineer who traveled the road of Liberia, so many miles, I felt within myself that Liberians are such a patient people. They are well seasoned patient. Their patient level in our country is unbelievable. Because if it were not patient, if these people were just people who really want to do, you won't be in peace. You won't. The advantage that these people has been taken off is so much. It's so much.
Let me go to this.
That you wonder how they even decide to live. Why aren't they killing each other? And this is what I'm saying. The community themselves, they're not doing. You don't read every day a community go putting together to do revenge killing or something. Only once a while, there are people who have been caught stealing in a community. And people want to kill them, and the community leaders and the members of the community will say, no, we're going to turn the person over to the police. That's happened many times.
All right, let me go to this caller here. We'll soon be wrapping up. 862 number 663. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. How you doing?
Good. Welcome. What's your name, buddy?
James Momo. I'm calling from New Jersey.
Okay, Mr. Momo, welcome.
Oh, thanks.
So can you just I believe we're getting the feedback. We don't monitor our television on there. Just low in, and then you can make your point.
Well, my point here is based on the reason Ellen Kukron allegation against the Solicitor General. The thing about it is Liberians are not really, we take things differently. Liberia is just some country that just extraordinary. Here is a lady who came out and linked the Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia to exactly what is unfolding in the country. And up to now, this man is walking free. There's no questioning. He just walking free like nothing is happening in our country. This is something we all need to think about. She came out publicly and said this man was linked to things, the exact things that are happening today. Okay, so where is it? Where's the safety and security of our people? Okay, you have the Minister of Justice, you have senators and representatives. They have never called that man one day to question him to get his side of the story. What country is that? So like Mr. Poe was saying, the thing about Liberia is, we are the war we went through. Our people were not de-traumatized. So if we continue to organize vigilantes in the community, it could even lead to something else. So this is where we are. The government needs to step out. Okay, and you have a president who is not saying anything. It's almost like business as usual. What country is that?
So then, Mr. Momo.
Yeah.
The civil society, what should be their role?
Civil society in Liberia. When we look at civil societies in Liberia, I sometimes question their own ways of doing things in our country. Everything is politicized. Okay, this is the time for those people, civil society, to step out and make a point. But you have nobody saying anything. The last time I was in Liberia, Mr. Tua, I was there, a couple of months ago. Even if you come off live in Liberia, people will call your house, call you and say, hey, be careful. This place is not safe. Okay, if you want to go back to the States, you got to know what you are doing. So it tells you how people are living in the country, people are living in fear. You have professionals that were killed in Broad Street. Up to today's day, nobody can give account of those people. What country is that? What country is that? So it means that Liberia is unsafe. And so when these things are happening, they try to blame the opposition. Nobody will take their money, hard-earned money, and invest in a country that is not safe. Every day, people, they find bodies everywhere. I was just listening to the vice president. She was raising her concern about the level of killing that's going on in our country. It's unfortunate. And this tells me, the George Weah government it has failed. That's failed leadership. So this is what we are.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I don't know. Okay, this is Mr. The late IG, the Internal Audit Boss, the late Emmanuel Batent Nyenswa. We will be the family, the widowed, they were memorializing here this coming Saturday right here in the Ocean State of Rhode Island. And Liberia Public Radio going to be there to bring you live images. That's the late Emmanuel Batent Nyenswa will be memorialized. The family we're memorializing right here this Saturday, the 2nd of October, right here in the Ocean State of Rhode Island. We will be there to bring you live happenings at that as it tries to remember him. The laboratory we're going to be wrapping up here. What should be the conversation? I haven't heard anything. I know the opposition they have spoke out in the past with this stuff here, but why should even the first branch of government? This is unprecedented. What is happening now is like, I mean, every other night, every other day, something like this, some sort of event, tragic event, something ugly. Why should they be doing when these sort of things happen here? We're seeing other places the whole emergency section. The call in people, the someone, those in charge. But I'm not sure what are going to happen.
Mr. So you're not going to see any of the what I be the legislature coming from them, or the only thing you're going to see from the executive what you saw already. I think the reason here is this: these people would rather have the 30,000 for themselves than to take that 30,000 and invest into the law enforcement. And the fact that they are not able to give these people the kinds of tool that is needed, they can't speak. Mr. So it's just like anything else. Any society, anything that you're involved in as a group, and it requires contribution. I mean, you heard this, Sareka said, no contribution, no drink. Yeah, I think you heard that music. It's the same thing here. The fact that these people are not able to give what is needed, some of the things that are needed for these police people to carry out their work, they can't come and try to criticize now, or they can't come and take ownership of this kinds of mess. They won't do that. And not even the executive themselves. You will only hear the police director, and when the police director came in, most of them were trying to be defensive. And this is what I'm talking about, our leadership. and I'm not saying this because of this present government. This is something that we Liberians need to seriously think about. We have to have a conversation on these things. Not everything that you're going to sit on the high mountain and criticize. In order for you to criticize, you must be responsible. And these are some of the responsibilities that we have as the people of this country. Because if you are not truthful to find out all of the challenges that are hampering the effort of any government to succeed in this type of area, then you're not serious. Because you have to be sincere, whether you're in the opposition or not, that the country is to run that country is a challenge. And there's no question asked. It doesn't matter how goodwill you have towards the people of Liberia. To run that country is a challenge. And on top of that, Mr. So, to make it worse, some leader comes in and even add their own challenges, corrupt behavior that are there to cripple whatever effort that you have to challenge or take care of some of these challenges that are happening in the country. Because of your corrupt and inept behavior, you are unable to solve these minute little stuff. I'll give you an example. And before I shut up here, way back in, I believe it was 1971, end of 71, almost 72.
Oh my goodness.
We were in the barracks. I lived in the barracks at the time. We were swimming, the barracks, the ocean, Atlantic Ocean. And at that time, people who are listening to me, if you're old enough, you're probably going to remember this story. There was a young man, they call him Roberts. And the Robert family lived right across the street from the barracks wall. So anyway, the little brother went in and started swimming. He started drowning. And people ran from there to go tell their parent. And the older brother came and ran out there to save the brother. And they both drowned. But guess what? Guess what? By the time the news hit the police station, police were already there trying to save these people. They have police people swimming to go get them. This is what I'm talking about. You don't have to wait until situations happen before you get involved. The police didn't wait to say, oh, they're going to bring complaint to us. Once they heard it, people ran over there, took out their uniform, and got in the ocean to bring the bodies out. Of course, both of them died. And they used to be a good football player too. So they had to wait for those people. And the government sent people out there that night for the wait. But what I'm saying is, these kinds of things, if you're not connected to the community, you're not going to be successful. And this is what is painful. Because those that are running the government, they are they used to be part of the community. They grew up in the community. They grew up in a slum of the community. They are not people that used to live somewhere on Rakes Institute, B.W. Harris, and all the other quick people stuff. They grew up in a slum. They grew up in a community. Why is it that there's so much disconnect between them and the community? This is the problem, Mr. So. But I want to thank you.
Yeah, and we're going to insert politics before we get into it, because at the end of the day, it is these politicians, the decisions-making aspect and their thought process can get us to this point here. Is it time for us to have politicians to have this sort of conversation as well now? It's not just about, I want to be president. We don't want to always be caught in the middle of unknown people coming without us knowing exactly what they represent, what they're breaking, how they're going to do it. Just only identify a problem and you can't tell her how you're going to find solution to the problem. It doesn't make no sense to me. It's a time for these guys to put their pens up on their bell button and start to tell us we are aware of the crime. If you give me the authority to lead this country, I'm going to do it differently, and this is how I'm going to do it. Is it time for them to tell us now?
Mr. So, I told you earlier, you as a media personality, you will continue to push, and you should. You should. However, there are processes. These processes must be completed justice before someone, for example, the opposition. If there was
why it is.
so
Now you try to wake me up.
This is what you, and that's why somebody called you and told you you were not being fair to the liberal. They told you somewhere, you went somewhere, and they told you that you are not being fair to the liberal. And this is why everybody will complain that you're not fair to me. It's always the case. I'm making my point, and you're going to interrupt. Because of your conservative idea, you want to interrupt the liberal so the liberal will not have a breathing room. But I tell you what, you and the Ted crew and Lindsey Graham, because when the government CDC came over here to lobby, they must have had a conversation with you, and maybe you pointed out to them to go to Ted crew and Lindsey Graham and all of those conservative people, because you are the conservative. However, Mr. So, the point that I'm making here is this. You can ice whoever you want, but this entire thing, the opposition, they are not splendid. You have all of them, they are collaborating. In other words, they are working together. So until the process is exhausted, Mr. So you will not get anything for any of them to come out and say, this is what I'm going to do. Once that process is exhausted by us getting a stand-up barrier, the stand-up bearer will come and talk to all of you, all the press people. Whatever information you want, you will get it from that person, because now the person is speaking for CPP. Right now, they are individual political party. They can't come to you as an individual political party and say, when I get the state power, this is what I'm going to do. No, that is not part of the process. And so let's give the process a chance. One thing I know, I feel the center right is not with us tonight. CDC professor is not with us tonight, because you people have found now that those conflicts that was happening in CPP, they have now smoking the peace pipe, and we're ready now to engage CDC again, because CDC is going nowhere. And the fact that our people who are the main attraction to the CPP, they are no longer going at each other. They're now friends again. I feel bad for the CDC. And so, Mr. So, we will address you accordingly when the time comes.
Who are friends now?
You heard what Costa put out. He said him and Columbia, they've already spoke their speed pipe, and so no more conflict.
You believe that?
Mr. So, it doesn't mean whether I believe it or not. I'm waiting to see.
That's the shame, and that's so disgraceful,
Mr. So, because you were hoping, many of you were hoping that these people will continue to fight about themselves, so that the CDC or whoever you're supporting, because you can't say you're not supporting anybody. I've been asking you to join us ever since, but you refuse to join. You want to be neutral. You want to be neutral. Stay in your neutral position. Stay in your neutral position. Don't go with CDC. Don't go with us. Stay in your neutral position. And we're not asking you for the commentary to help us out either. What I want you to watch as a neutral person, stay on the sideline and watch how we're going to decimate CDC completely.
Well, what is unfolding? That's what you're going to use?
Mr. So, I just told you. I said stay in the neutral ground, because you're not a sedition.
You see, what happened? You know, you're so dishonest with that country, and that's what get us to be where we are today.
Okay.
And you're too old grown up for that.
Let me ask you this: what are we doing? What are we doing that is detrimental to the country? That perhaps you think
they're finna making a power. They say they not smoke pea pipe. Nobody smoke a damn pea pipe. These people, they are disgusting. They just don't have that country ahead. Power struggling among themselves.
Mr. Stone, it's politics. Democracy at its best. Democracy at its best. You have people that are vying for these positions, and they will do everything possible in their power to win the people vote.
They might be distracted. And we're going to come back here and you're going to give justifications of their action. You know what? I can't even come to these people because, first of all, these people, they don't even have anybody. Every little they can turn, wake up and say anything they want to say. They do not have the guts, behave the same
Mr.
way of the
So, it's
Romans.
called
Can
freedom
you
of
get me
press.
to?
It's called freedom of speech, Mr.
Yeah,
So. If you haven't heard that, this is not Donald Trump country. This is not Donald Trump. This is Liberia, where freedom reign. Freedom reign from all the way by Maryland County. Freedom reign all the way to Norfolk County. Freedom all the way to Mosarara County. This is not Donald Trump country, where freedom is curtailed. In Liberia, you have the freedom to speak your mind.
Freedom, speak what? What's the matter speak about in Liberia?
So I'm not going to determine what their people's mind is going to be, but they have the freedom to speak their mind.
Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Because you always give the justification, the process. The collaboration aspect is already completed. They have all put together, and that has become a political party, full political parties. And yet, they are not even the two that we know so far. I wanted to see when their economic or foreign policy or domestic policy advisors going to be coming and tell us how they're going to address this issue. But you put all in a basket of deplorable and you sit down, you're just wrong with it. You're not telling us anything. That's why we didn't hear nothing from CDC.
Mr. So, you spent over 2 hours with the honorable, transparent ANC leader. You're asking all of the questions.
Why you can't talk about Joseph Waka? You talk about ANC.
I'm giving you an example. Waka gonna come, doctor, the savior gonna come on your show someday, and you can ask any question you want. None of these people are afraid of you. If you don't know that, let me tell you the truth here. None of these people are afraid of you. You with your tough questions and things like that ain't nothing to them. Not anything they never felt before. These people
what I want, they don't necessarily have to come. What I want a sense, a mature conversation. I don't want people just identifying the problems, but as you identify, you should put forward solution. And that's why they're not doing this power struggle.
This is why you're missing a boat, Mr. So. This is where you're missing a boat. Let me try my best, and I'm not going to get frustrated because I'm a liberal. I'm not going to frustrated. I will continue to explain.
You're already frustrated. You're already.
No, I'm not. I'm in a good mood. We are in the process until the process is exhausted, which then will give us a stand-up barrier. That stand-up barrier will come to you and give you our platform, our whatever thing that we want to do for your country.
So the platform,
save your country.
The platform in the suitcase in total here, right?
Okay.
We can review it.
No, we're not ready to review that to you right now.
Look, I hope we just wish the country to Liberia best. It's our country. I think we are in a very consequential time, and I hope national government got to take the bull by the horn. But probably if I have my own recommendation, I say like maybe the president.
Mr. So, I want you to look at I think it's Molu E. Sorum story. He just wrote on there. Look at that. Put that up there. I just told you a story, and somebody remember that story, Mr. So. When the liberal opened his mouth, he's not making up story.
So
look at that.
True story, our MBDC. So is this one is a true story too?
Mr. So I don't identify with those people calling me undercover sedition and whatever. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about.
All right.
I'm not an undercover sedition. I would praise the president if he does something good. I am a realist. And I want something that is.
Oh, this man he's a Liberty Party die. He died for Charles Walker Bronskin. That for sure.
That you know.
I know. So sometimes people have right to their opinions, their views, and sometimes that's the disheartening part of it because people, you can't question people's judgment. Judgment is within. And once the people made a judgment, it takes time. What time you're going to have to persuade them, then what else you're going to be doing? Let them say it. I think people should just be of their conscience of what to do. And that's what we want. All we want that mature conversation with these political actors and people that want state power because, I mean, you can't have a country like that. Come on. So it's like, because nobody knows what the ball is going to drop. other family bleeding, crying tonight. You never know. You have friends, schoolmates, and other people, siblings. So it's everywhere. I think the president, he needs to look at his cabinet, his administrative staff. If there are some people that are not doing something, Samuel Doe went through that. And it was a bitter pill for Samuel Doe to remove Alvin Guy Jones, who was as finance. But you have to do that. And for your country, for your government to survive. Because if you allow these sort of things to go on, you will pay the price. Government is not about friendship. If you have somebody there who is not producing results, perhaps they are just not equipped in that area. That doesn't mean they don't know anything at all. But hey, make a cabinet, make a reshuffle so that they will know that you are in charge. And
Right.
you have to make that recommendation. Probably Mary Broad needs, and people that say Mary Broad across. But yeah, that's why you need. You're somebody, you are somebody slap you and they have no reason of slapping you. You slap them. Then next time when they see you coming, they will control their hands. They will
Oh my
contain their hands. Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
And that's why yeah, I'm
These are
telling you, that's why
Mr. So. These
look,
are conservative ideas that we
it's
don't
not.
need in Liberia.
It's not. That country
You don't need that kinds of thing in Liberia.
Of
Somebody
course.
slap you must slap. No,
Why
if
do you
the
even
person slap
why?
your hands,
I
you
should show
first
my
of all
love.
let's find out why he's doing that.
Why?
And if there's
Please
any
tell me.
reason why you want to show him, you want to give him reason not to do that
No,
next time.
that's not. Yeah, if there's something wrong, there's a process involved. It does not give you the right to slap me to think you're gonna break my eyeball and I'm gonna lay. You slap me, I punch you. That's how it's supposed to be.
This
That's
is
why I
where
think
we're going. We're going
yeah,
over. These are the kinds of conservative ideas that
it's
are not
not.
good for the
We
country.
need to draw the fine line. That country it came out of war. We need to draw a fine line. So I think maybe Mirabro or Abraham Kroma, perhaps we see the record of these people. Send her to police there and see. She faced the passport bureau. She faced other places. Abraham Kroma did a good job. So there are some people who still out there can get things done. Those are the kind of people that will produce the result. I don't care what people are going to say. You can't slap me, and you say I should ask you why you should slap me. If I go blind, then what do I see? Settled. Don't even tell me that.
Okay.
That's why you want to bring people who are not even. We need steady hand. We don't need unstable people who can't even make informed
The
decisions.
steady hand is the Dr. Bakai. To get a good steady hand, let's go with Dr. Bakai. Get off your neutral position and come and help us carry Dr. Bakai to the final position.
Until Boyka can tell us and take responsibility of people that surround him, I control their mouths and know how to talk to him. They better to talk about Boyka policy, what Boyka going to be doing, how Boyka going to do it differently than the 12
Maybe
years.
that's what we need you on board. Perhaps you can help us.
No.
We need you on board. Perhaps you can help us to disseminate those kinds
he has
of
enough.
ideas.
He has his George Lobo and other people. They got a lot of people on board already. You're there. You're doing it here. That's okay. Or I just need to know the method, the process that are going to be involved, and how you're going to attain that process. Fair conversation. That's all we need. We don't want to have surprises. I want to have somebody who will,
Well, I tell you what, with Dr. Baka, you will have no surprises. With Dr. Baka, you have a strong leadership. With Dr. Baka, you have experience. I'm speaking. With Dr. Baka, you have experience. With Dr. Baka, you have transparency. With Dr. Baka, you have accountability. What more do you want?
Experience. All right. Let's see why. Let's see the experience with Hillary Clinton and that of Barack here. So I'm not after the experience. I'm after productivity tonight. Something to resolve.
Well, without experience, you will not be able to achieve the kinds of productivity you need in Liberia. You need a steady hand. You need experienced person. You need transparent person. You need accountable person to be able to give you the kinds of things that you want in Liberia.
I need someone that is physically fit that would take a
Mr. So you don't have to. If he's physically, you saw Dr. Baka dancing with his wife the last time. You want to tell me that's the yes? That's what I said. You saw Dr. dancing with his wife. It takes a lot to coordinate.
We talk about people to lead. You talk about dancing with wives.
I'm just telling you, brought physical. You brought in. You want somebody who is physical, and I'm telling you,
anybody will go on a tour, and at the end of the day, I'll go fly into Ghana to bring to create liability.
Dr. Baka, when he campaigned, he campaigned all over the country.
Mr. Baka is a decent man. He's a nice guy, but he just does not, and that's why you don't want to accept. He does not have that strength. Seeing what is unfolding, what I'm saying today, you
Mr. So,
your glasses, your lenses are not
first of all, you're not a medical doctor for me to accept. You're not a medical doctor for you are not a medical doctor for me to accept your diagnosis of Dr. Baka right now. So that's I'm not going to accept that. Dr. Baka, as far as I know, he's strong, fit, and a good leader, ready to save the country.
And I asked Cummings and the ANC people, besides Dr. Baka, who else in United Party has on the plate? Besides,
you want me to give you? You want to give me my preference right now? My preference, yes. Dr. Baka, Honorable Cummings,
Vice President. I said United Party. I'm not talking about forget about Ellis Cummings.
What do you mean Unity Party? We have a political leader. Unity Party. I'm not a member of Unity Party. I don't care about Unity Party. All I know, Dr. Baka is coming in to be the standard bearer for CPP.
Why are you part of why you your own party say you don't even trust your party? That's why all of you
can't say by me advocating for Dr. Baka to be the standard bearer of CPP that means I care less for the Liberty Party. Not that. Not at all.
Why don't you produce a candidate?
That's the good position of Liberty Party. In Liberty Party, you are a free man. We're not like any other political party. In Liberty Party, Mr. So listen, in Liberty Party, you are a free man and woman to make up your mind and be who you want to be. This is what Liberty Party is about. We're not like CDC. When you don't talk about CDC, we kick it out. No, we're not any of those political parties.
All of the parties have done that. Liberty Party, for the life of a long, the only person they put their life and soul in is Charles Walker Bronsky. Charles Walker Bronsky is there. You don't have anybody. CDC now, all life is George Weah.
Mr. So why would you say that when we have our own professional politician? We have our own the most qualified politician who is the Liberty Party's a political leader, Madam Lawrence, not only capable of leading, highly educated. This lady continues to help the people of Grand Bassa County, and she's already have won election over election. Mr. So, this lady is the best. So I'm not too sure what you're talking about. Liberty Party don't have a leader.
I'm talking about sustaining political institutions.
She has won election twice. She has won election twice. So
that's not what I'm talking about. You are looking at a very minute portion of it. One election, so that's
because she didn't come to Grand Gila County. Because she didn't come to Grand Gila County to win election. She's not from Grand Gila County. She's from Grand Bassa County, and she has done a job. In Grand Bassa County, and they continue to elect her over and over.
Why are you distracting yourself?
I'm not. I'm just telling you.
I'm just simply telling you. We went down this route before. National Patriotic Party on the tiller, NDP, Samuel Doe.
Don't bring those, please, Mr. So you can't bring those dinosaurs. You can't bring those dinosaurs political party up to this present.
History reminds us and gradually transition us in the future. And that's what is happening. We don't hear any. Joseph Boyka is the only person now. There's no any backup plan for United Party. CDC is the president.
To you, Mr. So
they're not even training. Listen, that's why I don't want you. What's the problem,
Mr. So? Because I'm trying to tell you something that you don't have to repeat yourself. I don't care for Unity Party because I'm not a member of Unity Party. However, Liberty Party that I'm member, Liberty Party USA that is, that I'm member of, they give every one of us freedom.
Have a good night.
No, you can't close the show like that because I'm giving you a point that you're being defeated with your argument. You're being defeated with your. Now you're gonna say good night.
You're being
very. Folks from the left, the liberal progressive is here again as a counterweight to Mr. So far right position out of his conservative ideas. He's neutral in this thing. I'm trying to bring him to the CPP. He doesn't want to do that. He's now ready to go to CDC. So I'm not too sure where he's going to fit. But we will do what we can to bring him to CPP. So at least we can. Excuse me?
To bring me to what? See what?
CPP.
What's the meaning of that?
Okay. Doc, let me forget CPP. I would want to bring you to support Dr. Bakai. How's that?
Which group is he part of?
Dr. Bakai.
Yeah, what is
the savior of Liberia, the future leader of Liberia, the man who's going to take Liberia from the mat to mattress. Do you understand that?
I feel bad for our country. All right, the Liberal, thank you so much for your time this evening. We'll just keep the conversation proportionate. We hope, but on a serious note, we hope the national government, not just on the national government, I think everyone, all of us, included us, I think everybody should play their role. Everybody should be one another brother's keeper. What is going on in the country is unacceptable, it's barbaric, it's uncivilized for people to just forcibly take people's lives like that for whatever reason they are doing. It's just unacceptable. And that's thing I think the community, civil society, every sector, to be a government, non-government, the civil society, all of us needs to step in. We need to find a way out. And I think national government needs to call for international intervention in the sense that the security apparatus can be fully equipped. The police is not equipped. The police just can't do it. How many police officers do we have in the country? Look at Monrovia. The Monrovia is congested with a lot going on. So it's a challenge. They need logistic to combat crime. To fight crime is not easy. And like you and I have been talking to all of these people they are going to face, those are people who are not strange to arms. So who knows? Some of those people are armed. Of course, they'll be firing. So it's a lot. So they have to be, as a police, they have to be fully equipped, have all of the materials, modern materials needed to fight. And I hope that's why they should be lobbying and be to lobby it and check around. Mr.
Right.
Toll, I want to thank you so much.
Let me just say this here before we take leave of you, Mr. So, on a very serious note, I think at this time, with all of the issues that are facing our brothers and sisters back home, those of us that have the opportunity to be in the diaspora, let us continue to pray for our country. Prayer that will help you. Prayer has helped Liberia before.
So why you need to start praying for? Start praying. People need to start cussing because this is what pisses God off.
Mr. So the cussing cannot. You see, that's one thing about Jesus Christ. This is what is good about Jesus Christ. He listened to prayer, and whoever trying to distract your prayer, they will not work. The prayer for Jesus Christ, listen to your prayer, and He will help you in your prayer. What are people cussing or not? It doesn't deter me in praying.
At the same time, but it is why it is. It's not helping our country, and these are the payback. So it doesn't matter who is there right now. There are so many ways some of these behaviors get our country to be where it is. People, because as a result, the bad things dominate the good ones, and so we all fall victims of these bad people with bad mouth and just think that they're going to do anything. And regrettably, we have bad Liberians who celebrate these people, who justify their actions, who pumps money into them, and they think they're going to get a good result. But guess what? These things are on an interim basis. The Liberal Progressive, have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good night, sir.
All right. Okay, folks, that's how we're going to leave it here for the rest of the evening.
Hallelujah, the highest praise. Hallelujah, give Him the highest praise. Hallelujah, give me the highest praise. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father.
Oh, yes. Hallelujah to our King. Hallelujah to our Father. Yeah, Mr. Hammond, I've been praying since 1822. Right now, I've developed knee problem. I'm not going to pray. Just pray and fall down. And these people, they need to pray for their own. They are not children. They are adults. Come on. How many times will say this one thing? Pray for what? Pray until you will fast until you die? Not with me. They know better. They know what they are doing. They finish doing it and then they walk back. Oh, what we did, this and that. Is that what we're going to do? That's what they're going to take into government. We have to be aware of that. And you guys are unable to tell them because you support them. They're not even close to state offices here. They are behaving like a tyranny. They are behaving like a Goliath. So what happens when they get there? There will be more than the very people they are complaining about. You're not exhibiting any sound of responsibility. You like one day moon or one day sunshine. What sort of unstable and uncertainty is that? Is that what we want to believe? You gotta grow. You gotta grow much bigger, man. You gotta be like adults. Children don't seek for high offices of the land. If you are still a child, go find bottle or go be playing with my man. Don't go around our Senate. Don't go around our presidency. Don't go around anything because you need to grow as an adult. Don't be a tablet and you say you want to hold state offices. We need to have there are a lot of things going on in the country. People need to start having that conversation. If you want to position yourself as alternative, you don't want to do that, and you just think we're going to give you that easy pass for you to go with the hope that when you get there, you're going to be fixed. A snowman is a snowman. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening, and I will talk to you when we shall.
Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never change. You never lie. You never change. You never fail. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hey. Hallelujah.